One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
That, of course, was Neil Armstrong, who 50 years ago this week was the first man to step onto the moon. And millions of people listened to him, and they heard him say that sentence, which clearly says that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And that's a classic quote. It's very, very famous, of course, and played around the world. But according to Neil Armstrong, that's not what he said. That's not what he said on the moon. He said, according to Neil, that's one small step for a man. But nobody heard a man. All right, and if you listen to it, it actually, you can't hear it. I've listened to it a lot, and it's not there. Ah is not there, not a man. And the has been eliminated. And Armstrong said he wanted to say a man, but the radio reception, of course, was not clear. So has been removed. Now, according to a computer analysis of sound waves, they do agree with Armstrong that he said man rather than man. Now, it's interesting, and it's a grammar. It's not really a grammar mistake. I mean, there's a difference in the grammar. So when he's talking about one small step for a man, he's referring to himself. But maybe there was, a mysterious spiritual situation where it removed and the sentence was, it was one small step for man, meaning all men, all women, all people, and that it is one giant leap for mankind. So, that's the interesting, as you listen to it, it'll be played this week because it's a 50th anniversary. See if you can catch it. It might be there if you listen really closely. I can't hear it, but it might be there. The other interesting thing about the moon landing is that I had the opportunity to meet Buzz Aldren back in, I think it was 2008 or 2009. Now, Buzz Aldrin was the second man on the moon. Neil was first, and Buzz was second. And there's a movie out there called The First Man. That's the English title. Not sure what the title is in your country, but it's about Neil Armstrong and his life, and he's a fascinating character. And when I met Buzz, and I was part of a lecture by Buzz, it was awesome to meet him, and he was telling the story that he was supposed to be the first man on the moon, but the way the capsule, the spaceship that was landing on the moon, the way it was designed was that Neil, the pilot, was next to the door. So Neil had to be the first man out onto the moon. It's just physically impossible to have Buzz go out on the moon. Now, they wanted Neil to pilot the capsule because Neil was the best pilot, and that's what the First Man is all about. The First Man movie is all about, is how great a pilot he was. And Buzz Aldrin agreed. Neil was the best man to pilot the ship down onto the surface. But the NASA wanted Buzz to be the spokesperson because Buzz was more, and is more, because he's still alive today, he is more outgoing, he is more friendly with the media, he is a better face, I guess, for NASA. And so Buzz wanted to be the first man on the moon, obviously, and NASA wanted him to be the first man on the moon, but physically Neil had to be the first man onto the moon. And ultimately, what happened was that Neil was not comfortable being in the spotlight, and he did a good job after the landing, and he went around the world and met with all the people and all the media and everything like that. But he eventually retired and didn't want to talk about it anymore. And Buzz kept on talking about it, and that's why they really NASA really wanted Buzz, because he was just more outgoing and more of that was better suited to his personality. Neil was he was a true pilot. So that is an interesting story here. Interesting, perhaps useless, I don't know. But hey, it's the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. You can share it with your students. You can share it with your teachers. You can put it into your projects, perhaps, if you're doing something this summer on the moon landing with your teachers. That is a little-known fact that we're bringing you here on The James Rice Show.
Have you downloaded the Study It ESL textbooks yet for your classroom? The Study It textbooks are the first ever digital and interactive textbooks. Once downloaded, Wi-Fi is no longer required. Each book contains video and audio exercises, detailed grammar keynotes, reading and writing assignments, and amazing speaking projects. Grammar, conversation, pronunciation, business English, and listening textbooks are available. Visit www.studyitbooks.com for more information.